Hello, welcome back to the Sun Anime Recap channel. This video will tell the continuation of Diablo's adventure story in the game world in the anime entitled How Not to Summon a Demon Lord Season 2. At the beginning of the scene, two girls are being hunted by a paladin. In an attempt to escape, one of the girls, Tria, sacrifices her life to be eaten by the monster. Another girl, Lumakina, was helpless when the paladin chasing her caught up and prepared to kill her. She could only pray to God for help to survive her current situation. At the same time, the paladin summoned a tentacled mushroom monster that instantly wrapped around Lumakina's body. A miracle suddenly appeared when Lumakina summoned God, which Diablo unexpectedly fell from the sky onto the monster and destroyed it. At that time, Lumakina thought that Diablo was God. Back some time before the incident where Diablo was with Rem and Shara, Diablo wanted to try his new magic, the flying magic. Diablo made a tree trunk fly, then stepped on it, and tried to fly as far as he could, but his magic ran out before he could control it perfectly, forcing Diablo to fall from a height, and befall the mushroom monster that was attacking Lumakina. Diablo was surprised to see a girl in tattered clothes calling him God. Seeing her state, Diablo gave his cloak to Lumakina to cover her body, while helping her fight off the paladin. The paladin claimed to be ordered by someone named Vizhoz to kill Lumakina. He took out a worm monster to fight Diablo, but because the worm monster's level was far below Diablo's, he was able to defeat it easily. Not wanting his pride to be lowered by a demon lord, the paladin took out a number of monsters to fight back against Diablo. But again, Diablo cast a stronger magic by freezing everything in that place. After the battle, even though Diablo wanted to explain to Lumakina that he wasn't a god but a demon lord, Lumakina had already fainted. Diablo took Lumakina to the inn. There her condition had improved. When Diablo entered the room, Lumakina immediately confirmed that Diablo was God, but Diablo replied that he would not reveal his identity and asked Lumakina to follow her perception. Apparently Lumakina was a head priest. So, the reason Lumakina wanted to be killed by a paladin was because she was against a head Cardinal Vizhoz. She planned to go to meet the head paladin, Batuta, to explain the situation and ask for help. Diablo took the initiative to take Lumakina to get to the Zircon Tower, which was the location where Diablo had made a dungeon before he entered the game world. Clem and Edelgard went into the room to ask for biscuits. Lumakina saw the evil energy emanating from the two of them, while Clem also didn't like the aura that Lumakina emitted, which caused them to clash. Just as Edelgard was about to strike Lumakina, Diablo stopped her punch, which made things no worse. The following morning, Diablo said goodbye to all his friends before leaving the city of Faltra. Because Clem was worried about Shara, she lent a little of her strength, and they headed straight for the Zircon Tower. After 2 weeks of traveling, they finally arrived at their destination. While they were walking in the middle of the city, Diablo was approached by a dungeon guide, Horn. He explained specifically the dungeon he was referring to, but Diablo knew better about it because he had created it. At the same time, the girls get into a problem with a paladin. Lumakina wants to defend a child who is suffering from an illness and asks for help to be cured, because the treatment is not free, so poor people who have no money are neglected. Because speaking the truth, Lumakina was almost attacked by the paladin. Luckily Diablo was swift to help her. Apparently the child was suffering from a deadly disease that Diablo learned from the Cross Reverie game. By asking for support from Diablo, Lumakina immediately provided assistance to cure the boy's illness. When the boy had recovered, another problem arose with the appearance of the sand whale monster. Diablo cast black magic that was so powerful to try to defeat the monster, but apparently his magic still wasn't able to defeat it. Magic attacks from quite a distance came from two people no less powerful than Diablo, head paladin, Batuta, and Phanis, the leader of the desert city surrounding Zircon Tower. The combination of their attacks can finally defeat the sand whale monster. Phanis does not like Lumakina because of her obedience to God, which makes her point a gun at Lumakina. Luckily Diablo and Batuta were quick to protect Lumakina. Phanis came over to them, only to find the whereabouts of the person who had cast the powerful gravity abyss magic. Unexpectedly by Diablo, Batuta hid Diablo's power to Phanis, because if Phanis knew Diablo's true power, she would be made her subordinate. Batuta took Lumakina and others to his mansion. On the way, Shara saw people waiting in line to hope for the priests to cure their illness. Arriving at the mansion, Lumakina invites Batuta to talk about the death knell illness suffered by the residents. Lumakina realizes that it is not a disease, but a curse. Batuta's plan begins to be exposed by Lumakina, but she suddenly falls unconscious after the sleeping pills previously given by Batuta start to work, as well as Rem, who is affected by the sleeping pills. When two of his friends got into trouble, Diablo was even engrossed in taking a bath together with Shara, who happily watched his back. Horn was caught peeking by Diablo. Apparently, he just wanted to tell Diablo that Rem and Lumakina had been taken away by Batuta, for that Diablo planned to save them. Rem and Lumakina were taken to a ritual place that was located deep underground. Before long, Batuta came with his servant, Shirlu, who brought a concentrate that can cause death knell illness. By the way, the concentrate is made of lust created from fornication, gluttony, and bloodshed. Batuta's purpose of making this concentrate is to target Fanis. Before Shirlu could give the concentrate to Lumakina, Diablo appeared to save them. Diablo's arrival was expected by Batuta, which made them fight. Diablo felt overwhelmed by Batuta, who was an expert in melee attacks. One of Batuta's attacks managed to pierce Diablo's chest, which made him kneel on the ground. Feeling arrogant because he thought he would win, Batuta was instead hit by Diablo's counterattack, which managed to freeze his left hand. In panic, Batuta cut his own hand so the ice magic wouldn't spread to other parts of his body. Feeling increasingly cornered, Batuta ordered Shirlu to threaten Rem's life, but Shara acted faster so that she could shoot the arrow at Shirlu. The effect of the attack itself was to turn the target into stone. Seeing Shirlu had lost, Batuta issued his ultimate attack. Diablo countered with one of his powerful magic, which Diablo finally won the battle. They all survived and immediately left because the place was about to collapse. The scene moves where Fanis is being threatened by one of the Grand General of the Demon Lord Army, Varicnus, who wants to make her one of his harem. Varicnus then left, saying that he would come back to pick up Fanis another time. Diablo and the others managed to escape from that place with the flying magic he had mastered, but Lumakina had been contracted by the curse of death knell illness, which forced Diablo to immediately look for items that could cure the curse in the dungeon he had made. On the way, they were surprised by the appearance of Fanis, who was facing them. She thought that Varicnus was one of Diablo's subordinates and tried to catch them. Since his fight against Batuta, Diablo's magic was not enough to fight Fanis, so he decided to escape from the siege of Fanis' army. With the authority she had, Fanis managed to find out the dungeon that Diablo was aiming for. 4 days later, Diablo and the others arrived in the dungeon and went straight through it. When they arrived in the dungeon, they had a little trouble when they wanted to go through a maze. Horn opened the map, and it turned out that the maze had changed. Diablo knew the map wouldn't help them, so Diablo chose to use his magic to create a shortcut. They then went through various obstacles in the dungeon. When they arrived at one of the places, they were attacked by a worm monster that turned out to be deliberately summoned by a paladin who had targeted Lumakina before. Getting the chance, the paladin tried to attack Lumakina, but Horn immediately protected Lumakina by pushing the paladin down into the river with him. Diablo immediately jumped to save Horn. In short, Diablo dived and managed to bring Horn to the surface. In order to save him, Diablo stripped Horn of his clothes, and what surprised Diablo was the fact that Horn turned out to be a girl. Well, I had thought that Horn was a boy, but I was wrong too. After Horn's condition improved, they continued their journey. Elsewhere, Shara's group was intercepted by a paladin, who also managed to survive, and was still aiming to finish off Lumakina. In the midst of their battle, a workless dragon suddenly appeared and joined the battle. Feeling slighted, the paladin summoned his strongest monster, but still the monster was not strong enough to defeat the dragon. Just before the dragon was about to execute them, Diablo appeared and attacked the dragon. Diablo and the dragon had a fight, which Diablo of course won. Not wanting to be humiliated any further, the dragon intended to leave the 12th floor, but instead, he was intercepted by a maid on the 13th floor and finished him off with a single strike. Diablo recalled that it was he who placed a maid, Rose, on the 13th floor when he created the dungeon. Rose, who originally wanted to execute them, instead turned to serve Diablo after Diablo revealed his true identity. Rose immediately took them into the treasure room. They were looking for an object that could treat the curse of death Nell illness there. The object in question was found, and was able to treat the curse that was suffered by Lumakina. They planned to bring the object to treat the residents. At the same time, Rose showed the situation of the Zircon Tower, which was being attacked by the Demon Lord army. As promised, Varicnus came with his demon army to make Phanes one of his harem. Phanes' attack made Varicnus fall, but after he got a kiss from one of his harem, he was able to get back up. Phanes and her army began to be overwhelmed by the Demon Lord's army. That's when Diablo appeared to help Phanes defeat the enemy troops, but their battle would be useless as long as Varicnus was still alive. Phanes told the abilities possessed by Varicnus and his harem. Diablo even wanted to become a harem lord too like Varicnus. But because Diablo was fed up with Varicnus, Diablo chose to wipe out all of Varicnus' harem with his magic, as well as Varicnus, who had to vanish after being struck by Diablo's consecutive attacks. After the war was over, Diablo and the others celebrated their victory at the Zircon Tower. Because Diablo didn't see Horn's whereabouts, he went to look for her and found that Horn was being bullied by delinquents. They beat Horn for wanting to take possession of a treasure she didn't have. Diablo arrived on time and defeated the thugs with ease. Diablo invited Horn to become part of his family. In short, they have returned to the city of Faltra. On the way they meet Emil. Lumakina asks Emil for help to protect her because she wants to go to the church in that city. Diablo was told by Sylvie that Edelgard was now working part-time at the bakery. Curious about the changes in Edelgard, they went to visit her. Their peace was immediately broken after 3 members of the Mismos family came to make a fuss. Clem was angry with them for destroying her favorite biscuit. The Mismos family is the most feared criminal organization in the area, even though Clem doesn't care and wants to kill them, forcing Diablo to get involved so that Clem doesn't cross the line. They broke into the Mismos family headquarters and meet the boss, who turned out to be just a geeky. So angry, Clem cast a powerful magic to eliminate the boss. Luckily, Diablo was able to block the attack, which only cut his hair. The following day, they continued their journey to Seven Wall. When they got there, the soldiers on guard surrounded them. Fortunately, Alicia came to help them out of the situation. Alicia rented luxury inns for Diablo and the others. I don't know when did Alicia become so rich, because in Season 1 she was just a knight. Plus her physical changes are now more prominent. The following morning, Diablo and the others held a meeting to discuss the plan to attack Visho's base. In short, they went straight to Visho's base, which turned out to be a place floating in the air. The citizens who were there praying for Diablo and the others. Suddenly Visho's appeared and instead distorted the facts by calling Lumakina a sinner. Not wanting the citizens to lose their belief, Lumakina gave herself up to be carried by Visho's. During the chaos, Horn managed to escape and return to the inn because she was too scared. She cried and shed her tears into the holy grail she brought from the treasure room. Unexpectedly, a goddess appears, Babylon. She is a level-up goddess. Horn asks for help to raise her level so she can save her friends. Instead, Horn had to provide the fresh blood of a maiden, but Babylon provided another alternative because she sent something that could raise Horn's level. Babylon suggested to become Diablo's servant, with the risk that if Diablo died then Horn died too. Horn didn't care about that and immediately wore the servant's necklace. Horn and Babylon went to Visho's base to free Diablo and the others. On the way, they were intercepted by 2 paladins, and Horn released her new ability, the Power of Charm, which made the paladins captivated by Horn. After getting enough information, Horn rushed to where Diablo was locked up. While trying to unlock the door of the room, Horn was attacked by a monster. Diablo, who couldn't bear to see Horn being hurt until she was seriously injured, finally came out forcefully from the room and defeated the paladin, who had summoned monsters to attack Horn. Seeing the chaos caused by Diablo, Visho started to panic and merged with the powerful monster, Europa. Lumakina, who was not far from Diablo and Visho's battle, became an easy target for Visho to launch his attack. Diablo quickly saved Lumakina. They tried to escape, but Visho managed to find them. So Diablo made a plan and asked Lumakina to break the barrier in order to defeat Visho. Rose intended to buy time while Lumakina activated her spell, but she wasn't strong enough and had to take Visho's attack. Lumakina finally managed to cast a spell to attack Visho's, but it was not strong enough that the citizens who put their full belief in God also prayed, which helped Lumakina's attack become stronger, and succeeded in breaking the barrier that protected Europa. Since the barrier had been destroyed, Diablo used a combination attack of light and darkness to fight Visho's, until finally Diablo's powerful attack managed to completely destroy Europa and Visho's. Lumakina reunited with Tria, who apparently managed to survive the monster attack at the beginning of the story. Since their victory over Visho's, Diablo was rewarded by Lumakina for helping her. Lumakina planned to make Diablo the head paladin. Of course, he refused because Diablo was a demon lord. After their business at the Seven Wall was finished, they all returned to the city of Faltra, but Horn stayed behind and did not come with them because she wanted to learn magic in that city. At the end of the story, Clem looks happy with eating her favorite biscuit. Thanos have plans to visit Diablo to the city of Faltra. Lumakina is seen rebuilding her city, which was damaged by Diablo and Visho's battle, while Rose follows Diablo as his loyal servant. With Rem and Shara, they will continue their adventures in another world. That's the end of the story of How Not to Summon a Demon Lord Season 2. Even though it's only 10 episodes, this anime is worth watching. We look forward to the release of the third season. If you haven't watched the first season, please check the link in the description or check the playlist of this channel. Or, you prefer the anime that I recommend that appears on your smartphone screen, please choose. So, thanks for watching and see you later.